So now this brings us to the Amp One and the whole BluGuitar Enterprise.
Enterprise, yeah, a big thing.
Yeah.
I actually didn't want to have that company, but it was a logical step from, you know, having that hobby, being an amp designer even before my Hughes and Kettner days, which I have been for 27 years.
Oh, wow.
I spent half of my life with them, being a freelance guy, because I always been gigging, having those gigs and playing in studio and session work and composing film music and being a sound designer.
Right.
And then after these 27 years with Hughes and Kettner, I had the idea to do something new. Everybody was still, so to speak, in the I want the old school tube amps.
Yeah.
And I've been there for decades. Yeah. I had my old Marshalls, I had my old Fenders and my old 63 Vox and all that. So I have been using these amps and I still love them. Nothing wrong about them, but after I quit touring, I had no people that helped me to lug around the gear. And this is the end of 4x12 for me.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so
I understand.
Once you are there, you think, man, my back hurts, my fingers are so stiff before I even played a note.
Right.
What am I doing here, you know? And when I quit the touring business with the big bands, I ended up having my own band. I had lots of fun, but the gear was way too much.
Mm.
So I scaled down, and the first thing I've done was a single 1x12 inch cabinet that is now available under my own logo, BluGuitar, known as the Fat Cap, because I wanted that fat 4x12-ish sound, but with no size, and no weight.
Yeah.
And so that cabinet is, I think, maybe 20 years old already.
Right.
Because it had no logo back then, because Hughes and Kettner didn't do it. And it's still there, and it was maximized for my approach, having a 4x12-ish tone that I can put on my backseat in the car and having a good time.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and then I made a discovery of something, and that's being in the industry for decades. It's like you see things and you see kind of how things evolve. It's like there's boutique amps and there is like more channels and there's maybe programmability, and I've been to all of that. And then you see, wow, what's new? Well, then there's lunchbox amps, makes it a little bit smaller. I was missing some of the power.
Right.
Some lunchbox amps in certain situations work fine for me.
Yeah.
But I've been there playing amps that were not enough for me. So I was like, man, I wish I had my 100-watt headroom, just in case.
Yeah, you can easily reach that limit because you've been there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Especially me, I've been there.
Right.
I actually had a full 2 cabinet, you know.
That's something difficult to understand for players who have not experienced it.
Yeah. And there's a whole new generation. They grew up on plugins and whatever modeling amps.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, which is okay, but it's like, man, try to tame a Black Sea.
No, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, they stop playing.
They don't know what to do.
It's like, it's scary.
It's like, what is this thing?
Yeah. And it's like, sorry guys, this is the real rock. Now I sound like a old fart that comes from the last century, but the good news is once you experience that and probably you like it,
yes,
it is addictive in a way, and it gives you something back, which is great.
And you'll always look for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had this experience. So, and then my idea was, okay, I need to be smaller, more compact, lightweight, and still have the power. And then I thought, with all the stuff that I learned over the decades, why not design something that is a non-compromise analog thing that does my plexi? And well, basically that's the vintage channel of the Amp 1, of the Mercury.
The Mercury, yes.
Yeah, I released a DVD called Blug Plays Hendrix, where I had my real plexi on stage, and a big plastic box on top was a prototype of that.
Okay.
It's on the record, and it sounds pretty good. So the real plexi was kind of, I had both signals, but in the actual mix of the DVD and CD, it's more that.
Ah.
And then I had a phase where I was still playing my Kettner Triumph, 13 tubes loaded, shining blue, everything boutique, on my small cabinet.
Yeah.
So the amp was bigger than my cabinet. And then I had my prototype with me, and then I was hiding this behind my Triumph. And then I had a few gigs where you could see my amp. For expert, it was on standby.
Right.
I still had a cable connected, but the amp wasn't playing.
Yeah.
And then, when I founded BluGuitar, at a certain point, I had a gig where I switched off the amp till it was dark. And then, suddenly people noticed, what was this? You're still playing? Where's the sound coming from?
Yeah.
You know? It's like, they thought I switched off the lights. No,
Yeah.
I really switched off the amp entirely. So, and this was 2013, I think. And this was shortly before I released my first amp1.
Ah.
And then when I had the amp1, I thought, I cannot make an amp that doesn't have the flexibility of my Triamp, which gave me like 6 channels.
Mhm.
And well, this has only 4, but with the boost, I can get everything. And this is like 1.2 kilograms, which is nothing.
Right.
And I've done a few videos where you can A/B listen to this, and my 13 tubes loaded amp, and there's, for me, no difference. Or if so, and it's maybe even the question which one is better.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
Yeah. Nice. And well, we were talking about this earlier off camera, that a lot of people don't understand what pedal amps are. You know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we are all we all learned there's either the format of a combo.
Yeah.
Or here's
A
little
hit.
Fender, you know.
Or a stack.
Or a stack. So this is what we know.
Yeah.
And this is a proper guitar amp.
Yeah.
And if you see that big thing, it's, I mean, even if you play only on level, it's too loud just from the looks.
Yes.
And this is the modern day. So this is when pedal amps come in handy, so you don't look so offensive anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is the benefit of a pedal amp? Well, it kind of is that small that you can put it on a pedal board.
Mhm.
A lot of players like pedals, like a delay pedal, like a wah pedal, like a phaser, or some people go with crazy big pedal boards. It's also a trend.
Yeah.
I remember times where pedals were not so cool.
Yeah.
I remember a time where like one pedal was cool.
Yeah.
I have that one tube screamer, and I'm
Yeah.
a real, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan guy.
Yeah, and having a pedal board was not cool. You got to have your pedal, so you're the real thing, you know.
Yeah. Okay, that's all trends.
Yeah.
And I've seen the rec trend in my 20s, being in the studio where Steve Lukather had fridges rolling into the studio.
Yeah.
A German colleague of a friend of mine, Peter Weihe, he had his own technician with a Volkswagen bus to set up the gear, you know, before he even entered the studio. So there was a wall of amps and effects and rec systems built. So the maestro came and just plugged in the guitar already in tune, and he was performing crazy good.
Right.
But you know, this was kind of celebrating the golden age of rec gear and equipment.
Mhm.
I think today it's kind of different. It's like we all fly, we all travel,
Yes.
we go whatever, maybe in your home country,
Yeah.
you have to travel by bus or even, what is it, a motorcycle?
Motorcycle, you
Yeah.
know, or train or commute.
Yeah.
And well, the thing with the Philippines is, on paper, it sounds like the perfect gigging paradise for musicians, because every venue has their own backline.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But
Now, but
I
but
know what that means. I know what that means.
everybody uses the same backline.
Yeah.
So and in most places they're not maintained.
Okay. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
in shitty condition.
Yeah, shitty condition. Something maybe broken. There's a hole in the kick drum.
I've been there too.
and all that stuff.
I played some like recreation venue in somewhere in the south of Europe, or was it Morocco, and they had a Fender amp, and the first minute I played a chord, the power tubes bloop fell off the amp, and I was like, one chord bloop. Okay, there was only one half of the two tubes left, and then the second one came right after. So you had to flip the combo upside down.
Upside down. So
Yeah.
so they don't come out. Oh no.
You know, once you've been there,
Yeah.
you think, okay, is this a good solution? And then I said, you know, this kind of, if I have my own amp,
Yes.
that I know, it's not like no surprise of, is it working, and it's what it's gonna sound like. You know, is it a Roland jazz chorus for the Van Halen gig? Today we have pretty
Oh,
good.
no.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. That's
It's like,
jazz chorus is my nemesis. It's like
See, I've been there too. It's like, yes, have you ever listened to the overdrive in the chess chorus?
oh, yeah, I tried it too.
Yeah, I think it's the worst
Yeah.
thing in the world.
It's I was part of the no pedals. I'm all straight to the amp, but I don't have my own amp. And so I go to the venue, get to the venue, sound check, and 2 jazz choruses in stereo. I pull out. Oh, okay. There's an overdrive. It's not an overdrive.
It sounds like some honeybee lost in the combo.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if it's clean, it's the best amp in the world.
Yes.
The best. I'm not saying a jazz chorus is not a good amp, but it's not a good rock amp.
Yes. It's not for what we do.
Yeah, exactly. So being there or having been there means, okay, what else can I bring that feels home for me? The guitar and the amp.
Yes.
And like the amp 1, you can go direct into whatever PA if there's nothing there. In the worst case, somebody has something to think through.
Right.
And this has like an output that comes from the power amp stage even. So my plexi is still breathing.
Right.
So it does not need a speaker in the worst case.
Yes.
Of course, coming from the full stack, if there's a speaker, it is a big step towards the full stack.
Right.
You know, so, and then of course whatever is available you can use it, and that makes you happy.
Yes.
And then for the amp 1 I also designed very compact cabinets. I have the nano cab, and it's another bizarre thing. Why didn't anybody build such a small cabinet with a 12-inch speaker? And I started with, there's my 12-inch speaker. I made a housing and thought as small as possible. And then I had my sound engineer that makes the front of house sound doing it with me, and like we can remove the back of the cabinet, like how deep it is. I made a mark and said, this is my thing. I didn't tell him, and I said, you can move it, make a mark where you like it. So compare, same place, okay, done.
Nice.
This was the end of the development of that cabinet.
R&D,
5 minutes. And then we worked on how can we get additionally low end out of that with portation.
Right.
Done, special designed speaker, but it's compact like that.
Yeah.
Jennifer Batten, ex-Michael Jackson, works with this, and many others.
Are you using like Neo speakers or
not yet?
Not yet. Okay.
But I'm having one in the pipeline.
Okay.
Because again, that's the ultimate. It in weight.
Yes.
Not in tone yet. I wasn't convinced about the tone yet.
Yeah.
But took me 2 years. Now I'm happy.
Okay.
I have my own designed Neo speaker. It's a bit too expensive, I have to cry, but it sounds right to my ears.
Okay.
And it sounds good at low volume and high volume. That's also important.
Yes,
Because-
definitely, yeah. Because like again, like the old tube amps, you have to have a certain threshold before it starts sounding good.
Yeah.
But with these, now we can dial it in.
Yeah.
You know, at any volume.
I actually played the other, like a few months in a church at a funeral, so you can't play your Marshall
Oh
stack.
yeah.
but I had my tone, even at that kind of volume.
Yes.
And that's, or poetry slam. I've done poetry slam, where people read, and I go like this and had my tone at the living room volume.
Nice.
So that, because, and the next day I'm on a big open air stage with 5,000 people. And
with the same amp.
With the same amp.
Yes.
And it's like the amp is as close to me as my guitar.
Okay.
Because, every piece of gear that you connect to and you use more often, you connect better.
Yes.
It's like
that's a great way of putting it. Because usually we're only concerned about the ones the gear that's immediate to us.
Yeah.
And now you've made the amp immediate to the player too.
Right. And back to the pedal amp format, I know it is a big. I have to explain 100 times. Hey, where's your amp?
Yeah.
Like.
That's
it's where, but this is where's your amp?
But that's a pedal.
Yeah, and they said, is your cabinet powered? I said, no, it's everything in there. Where there's a power supply, there's 100 watts, and I played with Uli John Roth from ex Scorpions, and he comes from the Plexi.
Yeah.
And he said, where's your amp? And then I had to show him backstage that this is the amp, this is actually working, and then. After he tried it out, he bought 5.
Well, he's got 500 watts.
Being the loudest guitar. He bought 2 for himself and 3 for the other guitar players in his band. So he has like all the 3-part harmonies. And
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because it's also, I think it's also a visual thing. Like you think 100 watts, it's this big thing, but they don't expect 100 watts and it's that.
Yeah. It's the same like with American cars. I mean, they look so beautiful, Cadillacs from the 50s, but I mean, try to find a parking.
Yes.
I mean, in America it's still okay, the roads are wider, but in Europe, I mean, they're so tiny, it's like you would scratch it each side, and then they're not made anymore for this kind of...
And if you go through an alley, you're going to stop.
Yeah.
Because you can't fit in the building.
Yeah. So times are changing, and I have all this experience, and this reflects in the product.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I'm not even doing anything.